But due to some mistakes, we are now a country who is a very weak nation. We are not united. Now I'd like to call our second speaker of this event. She graduated from Sindh Muslim Law College. She did her bar at law in 1973. She became the first woman to be appointed as the Law Minister of Sindh in 1999 and became the Minister of Law, Justice and Human Rights of Pakistan in 2000. She has also served as the Minister for Women Development, Social Welfare and Special Education from 2007 to 2008. Please welcome Barrister Shahida Jamil.
By raising two major points. Number one, from my point of view, and from what I am now studying and what I write in my book, from what I see, from the books, from the documents, and the original documents of the Muslim League, which is their resolutions and their deliberations. And they are taken not from any controversial book, but they are taken from Mr. Sharifuddin Firza's book that was printed in 1970 when he was Attorney General of Pakistan. So it was printed by the government of Pakistan. So I don't want to take away any of it. Number one, the question has been raised about exactly what is the status of 14 points. I must differ. 14 points was the position the Muslim League took in 1928 when there was no hint of the British leaving India. The British were at the center. That is why we wanted all powers with the provinces. Note that. The center was not us. The center was not us with an equilibrium that could be maintained by any constitutional power, because by 2/3 majority you can change everything. So what we had in 1947, just like India changed its entire position on caste, after within 2 years of bringing in their constitution, which resulted in Dr. Ambedkar resigning as the chairman of the Constitutional Committee, that could have happened to us. So the position up to 1940 is the position that has been talked about, powers with the provinces. But after 1940, a development occurred, which was in 1942, when the Quit India movement began of Mr. Gandhi and the Congress. And they said, we do not want anybody else in the center except themselves, which was going to be a perpetual Hindu majority. It had a totally different approach to Muslims, to Christians, to Jews, to Parsis. It had a caste system approach. And that part of history you do not know, unfortunately. That is the sad part. Since my focus is here, let me say this also. That by 1946, the 1946 resolution was passed by the elected representatives as well. In 43 it was passed, and in 46 it was passed, where we talked about a strong center, because we were not going to trust any other composition in United India, and we went towards a federation. At that time it was called federal units. Today, by some strange connotation, we have moved the grammar to federating units. There's a big difference between the two. As you will know from grammar, federal means you federated. In 1947 we were a federal position. And suddenly, somewhere around the 80s and 90s, we got a little confused with our English language, and we became a ting, which means it's a continuous past, continuous present, which means it has not yet happened. Strange. It's a walk back. It's a contradiction. It's illegal by a constitutional history. So, let me say that that position is a totally different debate. There is nothing in the records of the proceedings of the 1974 Assembly and the 73 Assembly that indicated the concurrent list was to be there for 10 years. Nothing. I have the copy. Nothing. And that is why there was never any debate. It's suddenly something that popped up in the last 3 to 4 years. Okay, but let's leave it at that. I have one suggestion and request that it stung me. It stung me in many places. There's this confusion in the country, and we stood up for the national anthem. And it would be my humble request to the Chancellor and to the Pro-Chancellor, do not play that national anthem again. That is no national anthem of Pakistan. When you put on हम भी देखेंगे तो उसकी शुरुआत सुनिए, उसमें नेशनल एंथम की सिर्फ 1 सेकंड की झलकी आती। क्या जोश, क्या बलवा, क्या उरूज से उसको गाया जाता था। उस जमाने में हम किस जोश से खड़े होते थे, क्या उम्मत खड़ी होती थी उसके लिए। दैट इज द नेशनल एंथम। उसमें जान है, उसमें जोश है, उसमें जज्बा है, एंड इट्स क्विक रिदम। दिस इज व्हाट वी कॉल अ डर्ज। व्हाट इज अ डर्ज? जब कोई मर जाता है तो उसके लिए इस तरह से गाया जाता है। Western European countries. Do not repeat this version. Please go back to the original version as you can see it in the press. So congratulations to the students here who chose the correct national anthem. Well done. So what is history? History was never a science, just a recording of what people saw. Until Ibn Khaldun moves into the scene in the Islamic Empire, Muslim Empire. Ibn Khaldun is from Africa, from Mali, Chad and Niger area. He starts, and he is known as the father of history, the man who makes it into a science. And he says it is imperative to know your history because you learn lessons. What is lessons? Ibar. And we as a nation in 74 stopped teaching history, stopped teaching geography. The perspectives disappeared. So you have got a flat vision. You do not have a 3D vision of what you see. So, Ibn Khaldun, why the science of history? He stressed a correct understanding, not just correct information, correct understanding of events and factors that cause it is most essential, because it is this scientific base of knowledge that protects a society. The protection is now when you don't know your history. You don't know who is telling you the truth and who is telling you a lie. You do not cognitive ability developed by your educational system to recognize the truth and to recognize the lie. That's what Ibn Khaldun said so long ago. And we talk about being Muslims. So correctness and understanding is essential for success. We wrote in 1377 AD, Introduction to Al-Muqaddimah, that a correct understanding of history is essential, and emphasized that environmental, sociological, psychological, and economic factors govern the apparent events. You've got to know them all. Factors too, he says, are subject to the laws of causality. What does he mean? Subject to certain laws he termed कानून. ये उसूल है, कानून है इंसान की फितरत कि किस तरह से वो चलता है और किस तरह से उसकी रिएक्शन होती है. So for every action, there is a reaction. For every cause, there is an effect. We don't learn that. The effect is the human event. As for example, let's take the case of 1971. By this method of study and analysis of history, he pointed out the following four essential points. Relating events to each other through cause, किया क्या, उसका नतीजा क्या हुआ. तो चीज और नतीजे के दरमियान. Drawing analogy between past and present, उस वक्त क्या हुआ, अब क्या हुआ. माहौल, what is the effect, and taking into consideration what you've inherited as a historic legacy and of course economic conditions. He asserted, please note this, he talks about sober, he talks about asabiya, कि आप किसी को अपने सोबत में रख सकते हैं या ढकेल के उसको किसी और सोबत में डाल सकते हैं. Watch. The social phenomena of dynamics of group relationships that work as a catalyst, they can cause trouble, they can bring upheaval or change. He showed how group feelings, when they grow large, create a new identity he termed as Sawiya and gives rise to the sense of a new society. That's what happened in Bangladesh. You forced them to think they were different, that they were new, as you said. We forced them, we pushed them. How? Which can, if negative, threaten the freedom of your nation, the Pakistani nation. That's what we did. George Santayana has said this. This is what I'm giving you the background as we go into the history. Those who cannot remember their history are condemned to repeat it. In other words, गुलामी के हालात भूल जाओगे, गुलामी फिर आएगी. तारीख के हालात भूल जाओगे तो वो फिर सामने आके खड़ी होगी और पहचान नहीं होगा. उस जाल में फंस जाएंगे. So, understanding the events of 1971 is important. Correct understanding of past is your best protection. Requires a balanced approach. We have heard both extremes of the last 24 years, all good or bad, but now we must know other matters as well. We have heard of the highest declaration of Urdu as a national language, the unilingual syndrome that exists in Pakistan. Caused a lot of problems. The objective resolution of 1948, the 1952 language movement starting for some students were fired upon, the Maulvi Tamizudeen case and the abolition of the Constituent Assembly, the unfairness and prejudice against the majority province of East Pakistan by the minority province of West Pakistan. ये बातें सुनी, कान भर गए सुन सुन के. बॉम्बे कोर्ट के साथ उनका अच्छा ताल्लुकात हो और बॉम्बे में भेज दें तो कराची तो सूख जाएगा। So you must see, revenue जब earn होगी उसमें किस-किस के लोग के हाथ है उसकी भी इज्जत कीजिए, सिर्फ खुद ही में न चले जाए। That is the danger. The civil service job, despite having 56% majority, only 15% was allocated to Pakistan. This was a real issue. The armed forces were only 5% from Pakistan, East Pakistan, and this was a major issue. They wanted to be part of the defense forces of Pakistan. They were pushed out. The 56th Constitution General Assembly was abrogated in 1958. When Sheikh Mujib proposed the infamous 6 points program, it needed to be outsmarted. What would have been the best way to outsmart 6 points, in your opinion? Think. The best way to outsmart the 6 points would have been to revive the 1956 Constitution of SZABIST. We didn't do that. We went for a totally different exercise. So, the Pandora's box moved forward after opening. Nobody says to you that the 52 procession was not more than 50 students. It makes it sound as if there must have been 3,000 students. Unfortunately, not so. It was just a small little Hindu group from the university that started it. और उसको उठा के हमने इतना चढ़ा दिया कि आज हमें ये भी नहीं पता कि उस जुलूस में कितने लोग थे। It became an icon. The mistake was to fire upon them और शहीद बन गए, जैसा हमारी आदत है। Objectives resolution idea did not start with the Qaeda-e-Azam. It started 2 months after his death. The whole thing. Qaeda-e-Azam's 11th August speech is different and the objectives resolution is different. Compare the two. Morning Tamizuddin's group, do you know why the assembly was actually dissolved? Because according to the rule, they were out. They were finished. In 5 years' time, if they didn't bring the constitution, they should have been elections. Elections were not held, and finally, when they were held in East Pakistan, the people who got elected were not allowed to come and sit in the assembly. It created a lot of trouble. Despite being a majority, East Pakistan was forced to accept equality through the 56th Constitution. All that tension began to brew with the first defeat of Madri Millat. Were you told at the amazing amount of people in East Pakistan who voted for Madri Millat? No. We only think it happened in Karachi. The 1965 war, yes, made the Bengalis feel unsafe. Because there was no Air Force cover in East Pakistan. We had a policy that so they felt abandoned, hostile forces began to use that sense of asabiya se nikalna. You said in West Pakistan, we said, the defense of East Pakistan lies in West Pakistan, 1,500 miles of hostile Indian territory. What kind of policy was that? With the signing of the Kashtan Declaration, followed the 6 points which solved the confederation. So the pura danka pitne lagta hai of confederation. You don't bring back the 56th Constitution, you open a new Pandora's box. With 3 subjects in the center, as said, foreign affairs, defense and currency. It could have been revived. This was the mistake. we didn't revive it. Zababandi ho jati. Or, despite having the session was postponed. Just think of it. Session they want in Dhaka, and we said no. It was the second capital. 70 election results, electoral majority was by major Pakistani. We said no. 38% दिया हुआ है. West Pakistan में वो 56% को कह रही है कि हम तुम्हारे पास नहीं आते. President Shahida Khan ने उनकी डिमांड एक्सेप्ट की, सेशन को कॉल किया, तो नारा यहाँ से उठा कि जो उधर जाएगा उसकी हड्डियां तोड़ देंगे. And rivers of blood will flow. So no more rent. These are the mistakes. आप असाबिया पैदा कर रहे हैं. आप उनको सेंस दे रहे हैं कि तुम उधर, हम इधर, तुम अलग, हम अलग. Sorry. Something is going on. That this forceful postponement brings a consciousness of a different asabiya. जब आपके पास दोस्त आते हैं बैठने के लिए, आप उनको अपने पास नहीं बैठते, तो अपनी ग्रुप बना लेते कैंटीन के अंदर. So, we all contributed to develop it. It emerged as a group dynamics, and we were negligent in neutralizing it in turn. That was our mistake. So, generated, we heard a little gossip. Now we start hearing atrocities are being committed. Merciless rape of Bengali women. Merciless killing of Bengali leadership. The tamam fairy batein. But no one mentioned the Agartala conspiracy was true. बाद में इसको बना दिया गया एक उनकी अपनी तारीफ में एक संगे मील. अब पढ़े तो आपको नजर आएगा. The Mukti Bahini was Indian supported and fought. So you had the terrorists. Having problems with this. The ships unloading were attacked before 25th March in February of 1971 in Chittagong. Soldiers were butchered, people were butchered. And what did they do with it? Blood was collected from the dead bodies in Chittagong, and bottles labeled Punjabi blood, Balochi blood, Sindhi blood, ये सारी चीजें जो है लाई. Indian military Bengali literature over. Now this is the question. For the last so many years from 71, Pakistan remains silent in every international forum about what happened in 71. Don't you find that strange? I found it strange when I became a minister. Why don't we talk? What happened to us? Why are we letting only one side speak? What's going on? So I took it up. But guess who? आपको बड़ी तकलीफ होगी. With President Musharraf. I was a minister.